Hello and welcome to the Bitch Why Are We Friends podcast. I'm Didi, and unfortunately, with me as always is Cece. And today we are going to talk about what makes us and you weird. What makes me weird? Well, my whole life. But I think all humans are weirdos. We're just made up of basic instincts, habits, quirks, and sometimes those match with other people, and sometimes they are fundamentally different. So different that we deem ourselves or other persons weird. So we're all potentially weird to one another, but really we are also all human, and all the things that make us uniquely weird is shared by so many other people, which we sometimes deem my people. I do love people watching. I love watching people who are completely different from me, people who are walking around doing real life, regular, normal things, because that is weird to me.
Yeah, sometimes I watch blonde people.
Yeah, it's not at all good to hear your voice again, Cece, but here we are, and here we go again. I
Fuck.
did take Jenny Z's advice and went out and orally assaulted 89 dicks, 56 taints, 23 tits, 7 assholes, 1 vagina, and a partridge in a pear tree. Oh, and that 1 vagina was mine. I'm getting pretty limber, but it definitely classified as assault. What about you, Cece? How many genitals did you ravage?
Other than my own, um,
Yeah, that
I'm
counts.
I'm intrigued by the fact that the number of
I
um
knew you would pick that. Tits.
you assaulted is an odd number.
I knew you'd pick up on that.
I don't have any follow-up questions. I prefer to imagine why that
Right.
is. So
Well,
please don't ruin it for me.
well, I despise self-reflection, so fuck you for coming up with this week's topic.
I'm not gonna lie, that was part of my motivation for this for
Well,
this topic.
so
Yeah.
we're going to be listening to some clips that you all sent us.
I honestly thought our listeners were a lot weirder than it turns out that you all are. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's both a good thing
It's
and a
probably
bad thing.
just subjective too. What's weird to some people is like really normal to other people.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is now I feel like a fucking weirdo.
Well, you are. Just remember, on this planet of however many billions of people we're up to now, combined with the internet, you'll most likely be able to find someone who shares your own specific set of weird idiosyncrasies, which is comforting and alarming all at once. Also,
It's just alarming.
it's alarming sometimes for people because some people are truly fucking weird. I think it's also alarming to some people, especially when they're young, because they realize that they're not
Right.
as different as they thought they were, that other people have these weird things they do as well. So
'Cause
that's
you are
why I find that
not
interesting.
alone.
Oh no, we're getting into the singing portion here. You don't have your
No,
uke on you though.
I don't. It's always a part of me. But no, I don't know how to play that song on the ukulele. It literally
You
just came
should
into my mind as you were
you
saying
should
that.
learn how to play that, and then we should assault Tanya.
For her next, if you give me until her next birthday, I think I can do it.
Oh my God, poor Tanya.
Oh, she agreed to be friends with us in the first place.
That's true. But she didn't actually ask us to sing that horrible, horrible song to her.
We didn't write happy birthday. It's not
We
our
did
fault that
assault,
it just expects you to have the most outrageous range. That's
we
not
did
not
verbally
my
assault her though.
Oh, that part. Yeah. Well, what again? She knows. She had to have known.
She had to have known that we were going to surprise her with horrible.
Well, we were going to surprise her with something horrible. She may not have known
Mm.
precisely what,
You can't have a birthday and expect nothing to happen. That's your
right?
fault. Speaking of moms,
Yeah.
I just want to say that I am now officially Facebook friends with your mom, and I'm very excited.
She mentioned that actually. And I'm very happy for you both. And
She's my new mom.
I knew you were going
That
to say
makes us
something like that.
that makes us sisters.
Don't say things you can't take back.
I'm gonna move in with you next.
You're gonna have to sleep on the floor.
I'll be at all of your family holidays.
Does that mean I don't have to go? No,
Well, I'm not a
I'm you're not a
yeah, I
replacement?
don't no. I
No,
could never replace you.
I like my family gatherings, so I'll still go, but I won't be happy about it.
Good. So, who are these weirdos that we're going to be listening to today?
These are anonymous weirdos, if which actually sounds kind of menacing. I wasn't planning to call them that, but these are your friendly anonymous neighborhood weirdos.
Who are
Yeah,
probably very much like you.
yeah,
Not
some of
you,
them.
not you, but I mean anybody listening, you'll probably I even sort of I kind of felt a connection to some of them.
So I'll start us off. I am, I don't want to use the word obsessed because I think that that's more clinical than is appropriate, but I love and have a very hard time not touching my ears when they are cold.
Not to
It's
warm them, just to touch them.
just to touch them because I like the way it feels. Not on my ears, I like the way it feels on my fingertips. And I often catch myself out in public, especially at this time of year when it's cold, fully with both hands and but just the tips of my fingers around the cartilagey air, like outer rim of my ears.
You like to give your ears a rim job,
But just with my fingertips.
right?
Yeah, especially if I can fit just, like that narrow little edge of your where it's folded over and it's kind of
Hmm.
like a little bit like I don't know why I want to say an ice skate. It's because I just watched I, Tonya. And I like to get that in between my fingertip and my fingernail and feel the coldness in right in there. So, on that note, now that I've revealed, for anybody, I just want to say this right now, for anybody who was only listening to this to get some weird dirt on me and now is just going to turn off the episode, fuck you. That's not cool. If you're going to get dirt on me, you should at least have to listen to the whole episode as, I don't know, compensation of some kind. So let's just hear what our local and international weirdos have to say.
Something weird about me is that I tend to flirt a lot with people, like friends, truly anyone. Like if the chance is given, I will try to make something a pickup line. And yeah, people say that's weird about me, but I mean, it just be like that, you know?
Was that Pepe Le Pew?
Honestly, I was asking myself the same question. I think it probably was.
I think if I think in our friends group that would just be rather normal at a party. Like I'm not disparaging somebody's weirdness. We all have our levels of what we find weird. I like that one because it does
Yeah.
remind me of being at parties with our friends and
Horny creeps
exactly. Drunk, stoned, horny creeps.
who have no intention of following through on any of it.
No, it's just exactly. It's just party time. So yeah, I like that one. I like that weird trait of this person's.
I agree.
Honestly, I don't think I'd want to be at a party where that was a weird thing that you're the weirdo for,
Yeah.
flirting with your friends. Yeah, I mean, you
Uh,
flirt with people, you try them on. It's not always a sexual thing. It's sometimes you just want to kind of
Flirting
uh,
is your love language.
yeah, but it's also like trying somebody's personality on where you're like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
sort of like making love but verbally and not sex. It doesn't have to be sexual. You know what I mean? It could be just like a
Right.
human one-to-one thing, and obviously often most of the time it is fucking sexual. So
I mean,
it's about the P and the V, or the other ones, and the V and the V's, and the P's and the P's,
peas and the peas.
P and the A, all of
It's all.
those. So that was a good one.
Since I so graciously shared something about myself before the last clip,
Hmm.
before
I
we move
can.
on to the next one.
I have lots to choose from, but I can take a pee literally in front of pretty much anyone. And I once peed in my cat's, I want to stress, freshly cleaned litter box. Because my roommate was in the bathroom for so long, my bladder was physically detaching itself from the weight, and I felt like I was going to die. And I panicked And I will say that corn litter is much better than clay litter. And I cleaned it up afterwards so that my cat wasn't pissed off.
Such a violation.
Perfect clumping, though. It was perfect clumping. But that's sort of just a weird thing that happens to be because I don't feel such shame about peeing. I can just pee in front of people.
I'm glad that's what you meant, because at first when you said taking a pee, I thought you were talking about the pee that you had been talking about earlier with P's and V's and A's.
Oh, yeah. No.
It worked out in the end. So
yeah, we got there in the end. So what's up next?
Well, why are we weird? I use sarcasm in every fucking conversation that I have, and if I don't like you, I guess. I say random shit, and I sleep talk. I talk a lot in general, so I guess that's weird. And people don't know if I'm nervous or something, but I don't know. Either they like me or they don't, but yeah, I talk a lot.
Really? Well, I have like absolutely no filter. Honestly, I will say whatever comes into my head, and so some people think
People don't know if you're mean or you're actually serious.
Yes, and yeah, people don't know if I'm just being like mean or like
Funny.
or funny or whatever. But like I just say whatever comes to my head, and people just don't get me.
And she falls a lot.
Oh my god, people don't get me. I'm so quick and different.
Yes, I am. We're all so quirky and different.
I'm not.
got a bit of a theme cropping up. Cartoon characters, because that was definitely Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Whichever one is Theodore, I would like to hang out with you and eat cakes.
I support that. I would probably also like to do that. I just hope that they've learned to wear pants instead of just super long shirts.
Or as modern times gives them, long hoodies.
It's not turtlenecks anymore?
These days, it's like just long hoodies, but still no pants, you know.
Right.
So what do you think of these weird confessions?
Honestly, I think that not having a filter is it ends up making a lot of people seem weird because you say a lot of weird random shit that you haven't had a chance to censor. Yeah, I think that especially when I was younger, I feel like I definitely was weird because I said random shit without thinking.
Said and did just random things without thinking.
Yeah, maybe it is, I think, a feature of age.
Of
that stage of brain development.
Exactly. That's what struck me the most, is that I think in years to come, it will be different for them.
Well, yeah, and you start to figure out what kind of weird shit people find funny, what kind of weird shit makes people not want to invite you to parties anymore.
I think also you notice that a lot of people have these things.
Yeah, and everybody is everybody is the same in that we all go home and think about that one weird thing we said or did and assume that everybody is doing the same thing about us, but they're doing the same thing but about themselves.
Exactly.
I read a study actually, and the title of it was "Nobody's Thinking About You."
Exactly. We're so worried about what people think, and actually they're more worried about what people think about them. And
yeah, nobody's got time. Nobody's got time.
No, especially the younger generation.
Right? They especially don't have time. No time.
What is one random weird thing about you, Cece?
It's pretty random and it's pretty weird, and I only know about it because my mom told me. But apparently, when I was really little, I was anxious about leaving the house unattended because I was afraid that people would come in while we were out and lick all of the countertops.
That especially sounds like something that you'd want to avoid these days.
I
like
was
lock your
decades
door.
ahead of the curve.
What's the next weirdo?
I guess we're gonna find out just like everybody else.
I'm weird because I sent a junior a video of me singing a song that I wrote because I liked his brother.
I think we said weird, not awkward, right?
I definitely did. Awkwardness can be weird.
Definitely.
That was definitely Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers,
I
though.
was definitely getting some Tina Belcher vibes. She's writing those songs for Jimmy Jr. I would also be really interested in those songs. Like, I would actually like to hear if we could do a follow-up where we actually could get some of those lyrics.
I think that would make a good episode.
I would like to hear that song. So, Cece, what's another weird thing that you...
I mean, honestly, there's so many things. I guess when I was in elementary school, my best friend in elementary school, we were like really into horses. And like we even took riding lessons and stuff together. And every day at recess and lunch, we would play horses, and we would just canter around the outer ring of the playground like it was an equestrian arena. And so I don't know what it looked like, but it sure didn't look like normal running.
No, it looks horrible. I think I've mentioned this before, where I also had a friend that we used to trot and canter, and sometimes I'd stop and look at her and I'd be like, this looks fucking ridiculous, because you're kind of holding some reins and you're canter and you're like doing this weird gallop thing, and then sometimes she would like start to like hit the side of her leg like she was, like, and go and gallop. She'd start to gallop. So I'm sure that we all looked like fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that you were a fellow canterer.
Let's hope this next person makes me feel a little less like a weirdo.
We should go cantering sometime.
All right. There's a playground near my house.
I am weird because I am a Pisces.
Hello, Dory. The good news is that you're probably not the most irritating astrological sign.
Definitely not the most irritating. I don't really know enough. Well, okay, wait, what's your sign?
I'm a contrarian. I feel physically ill and experience an increasing sense of anxiety when I'm going with the flow of the majority. I feel like I'm drowning in a river of people and can't breathe. And I don't like people telling me who I am and what I'm about. So I find astrology a tad irritating. Did that sound pretentious?
Well, yeah, but it also didn't answer my question.
Okay, well, Aquarius.
Okay, then I'm gonna say that Aquarius is the most annoying sign.
I always thought it was the Taurus.
Oh, come on. Let's, like, all jokes aside, though, it's Gemini. Can we just agree on that?
Yeah, their duality is just, come on.
Yeah, let's get real.
Yeah, but Scorpios can also be, actually, Cancers and Leos are pretty fucking awful too. Everybody's just awful.
You can be awful regardless of your astrological sign, and vice versa. No, I mean, Scorpios can be intense. I'm trying to think of like who I don't hear shit about, on the zodiac. Is there anybody? Aries doesn't get a lot of shit. What about Libra? No, Libras get shit.
Oh, they get some shit.
Yeah, Aries though, you're right. I knew there was one.
I really never hear anything really terrible about Aries. And Cancers, some of the things about Cancers that I hear about is sort of more of a self-deprecating, sort of overly sentimental and emotional, which isn't totally bad. I memean, it sounds
it's fucking it's irritating as fuck.
Okay,
though.
It can be irritating. Yeah, it can be. I mean, my sister is a Cancer, and
is she a smug bitch?
That is a whole nother episode. I wouldn't say she's smug though. She has some cancerous traits.
Well, I look forward to that episode. I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, that's okay. You know how sisters are. Fighting 1 second and then just everything's fine the next.
So, sounds like we already know your weird thing. You're an Aquarius. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that before we...
How about something light? I like to eat uncooked tortellini pasta.
How is that light? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard about you. What the fuck?
That's not weird. It just tastes better.
That's fucking weird.
Specifically when it's really like fresh made pasta.
Oh, that's different.
But uncooked with all the the tortellini with all the stuff in the inside of the
I know what a tortellini is. That's why it's weird.
No, it's wonderful. It's not, it's nice and soft. It's just like a big pillow that you bite into.
Uh-huh. Is it not that when it's cooked?
I don't know. Just, yeah, I think it's because I was one of those kids that like to eat dough. So I think it
Oh,
goes along with that sort of thing.
everybody likes that kind of thing because
Exactly. So
we're
fucking try an
impatient.
uncooked tortellini pasta. Try it before knocking.
I like that it's when it's cooked, I like that it sort of like slips into your mouth like a I don't know.
I know what you're, yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Um,
No, that's not no. Let's just move on.
a vulva, you're saying.
Oh, fuck
A
no.
shaved vulva. And I know that you like the word vulva, so I'm using that word for you.
As often as possible, apparently.
Vulva, vulva, vulva. So yeah, try it. And funny enough, I think I am making tortellini pasta tonight. So
I'll try it if you do.
well, I already had one earlier.
A vulva?
No, the uncooked tortellini pasta.
Oh, never mind.
And
You
I
ruined-
also, you know,
ruined it.
yeah. Okay, moving on to how many of these clips do we have left?
Too many.
Too many. Okay, moving on to
5,
moving
6.
on then. What? Okay,
I
we
don't
gotta
know.
go. Let's get going.
I'm weird because I don't fear expressing my ideas or thoughts.
I feel like that was Greta Thunberg. You may
Old
correct
tuna
me
burger.
if I'm never heard her called that. But yeah, no, it really shouldn't make you weird to speak out about things that are important to you.
No, that one's slightly saddening because you know you shouldn't be unable to talk about things that are important.
Yeah, it's honestly the only weird person there is the person who thinks that you're weird for, standing
Speaking
up
up
for
for
things.
your
Yeah,
for your beliefs.
as long as your beliefs don't involve hate speech, then yeah. And maybe some other things. I don't have time to come up with everything right now. I'm not Greta Thunberg.
But
This
can you
person.
come up with another weird fact about yourself?
Yeah, as a little kid, I was terrified of beavers.
And now you
On
dive into them willingly.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that. Honestly, if only. If only. No, when we were on the little train at the zoo in Stanley Park, I they announced that we were going through the section that had the beavers. I started screaming.
Mm.
But, and I don't think that this makes it any less weird, but I do think I understand why I was so afraid of beavers because growing up, we would spend a lot of time out in the country and like walking through the woods and stuff near where there were a lot of beavers and beaver dams. And one thing that beavers will do is start chewing through a tree. And then I don't know if it's like they get distracted or these ADHD beavers, or is this just like, is there a reason they're like, actually, now that I'm halfway through this tree, I'm not really feeling it. I don't think that this is going to effectively stop up the flow of, running fresh water enough to, I don't think that this swamp area I'm creating will be quite putrid enough, and they just abandon it. But what can happen is that if you are just walking around and not paying attention, these trees sometimes over time will fall
Of
and
course.
crush you to death or just
Yeah.
to very badly injured. And so that I think I traced it back. Frankly, what's actually weird now that I think about it is that more people aren't scared of beavers.
I saw one of the most beautiful, big, beautiful beavers down on Wreck Beach. And
Oh,
people
yeah?
always laugh when I say that because of Wreck Beach. But there really was a large, beautiful beaver down there on the rocks, crawling around. And it was not just
Saltwater beaver.
a vulva. It wasn't just one of those.
Right. But it must have
Um,
felt it. It must have felt at home with all of the other, with all
Oh,
of the
of
the
course.
others.
It looked right at home. And it was a lot bigger than I thought. Because I don't think I ever saw a beaver except at like wildlife sanctuaries. I don't think I saw one out in the wild until that day. And it occurred to me just how big they are. Some of them.
They're quite large and they're very good swimmers, which is always
Mhm.
something that intimidates me. I am not a very good swimmer. And there was actually a story in the news a number of years ago about a little girl who was dragged into a body of water by a beaver. It jumped up
Hmm.
and grabbed her by the hand and pulled her down.
You
So,
just wanted a friend.
well, that's not appropriate behavior though, even if you want a friend.
Did you ever watch Lady and the Tramp when you were a kid?
Of course.
That fucking beaver is just, I couldn't stop laughing whenever I'd watch that as a kid, just giggling maniacally with that beaver. I don't know why. I fucking love that beaver.
Well, that honestly was paid for by the beaver lobby
I
to
see.
make children less afraid of beavers so that they would
Big,
go closer to the water's edge. Big Beaver. It
big
was paid for
beaver.
by
I was
Big
gonna say
Beaver.
big beaver, but you were. Let's move on to the next clip.
What makes me weird is that I've been listening to the same album for over a year and I've never gotten bored.
Well, I can definitely relate to that.
I would like to know what album.
Yeah, that actually is a very pertinent piece of information.
I think I do that with working out. I often just listen to the same working out album when I work out, the pump up, or the same 5 songs,
Don't Cry Out Loud like Roland on Schitt's Creek. I think that this was actually Roland from Schitt's Creek.
I think so too.
And he's talking about Don't Cry Out Loud. Is that even what that song is called? Yeah, it is, by Melissa Manchester. Don't cry out loud. And then I don't know the rest of I think that's the only lyric. So being able to listen to the same album, depending on the album, it may or may not be weird. So I guess
if it's like Weird Al, maybe it is very weird.
That would be weird. Well, that wasn't our wittiest repartee. So let's just go ahead and see what other weird things you've got to share with us.
Oh, I'm unable to biologically find my own body sweat disgusting, as most other people do. I can go for a long, sweaty run in the woods and feel completely clean and healthy, soaking in a tub afterward. And some people might find that really disgusting. But I don't.
In your own brine?
Yeah, like it just doesn't feel gross.
I mean, you're still cleaner than when you went in. It's diluted.
I can even wash my hair in there. Okay, what's up next?
Oh, another
Hopefully
good one.
Not something to do with you.
Well, you're going to be disappointed because everything's about me.
Is this clip just you?
You can tell that they've all been me. No, I don't have the time or the creativity. No, this clip is not me, just to be clear.
I guess some of the weird things I do is that I like to collect objects that are weirdly off of proportion. Like I have a giant whistle and a really tiny windmill and a giant cupcake and a very, very tiny chair. And yeah, I just like stuff that are out of proportion. And also sometimes I'll just say stuff. I'm not very good at being at peace with silence. So generally I'll just say a random ass word that comes into my mind. And to me it makes sense because in my mind I went through a whole ass thinking process where my brain connected 2 dots and it reached that word. But when I just say the final word out loud, it makes absolutely no sense to the person that's hearing me speak.
I like this one.
Definitely channeling.
Yeah, I think sorry, channeling who?
Elmira.
Yes, definitely. I got that sort of, when you hear somebody talk especially about the weird things that they do, and you start to feel like family. And I got that with this person. I think I definitely have used escapism to survive as far back as I can remember and still do. And I think that's why I surround myself with vintage and sort of feel out of place in modern design, and especially those little quirky oddities with tiny little things. And I felt very connected with this person, this Elmira person.
Yeah, like tiny, tiny little dollhouse furniture.
And I think
Love
you
that
also
stuff.
love the comically large things. I get that from the way that you were so excited when you brought over those huge fucking post-it notes that were like gigantic post-it notes. I think that you love the comically large too.
I do like making giant food for the Guinness Book of World Records. Like that's my jam.
I could see you eating a huge donut, and that's not a euphemism.
Fuck you. No one thought it was until you said that. God.
So speaking of you and your weird donut obsessions, foods of round persuasion that you love to eat. What's another weird tidbit about Cece?
A weird timbit.
Timbit.
Another weird timbit about me is that I am very particular actually about you made a joke about the shapes of foods. I'm very particular about the colors of foods that I eat, and that if I don't like the color, I'm not going to eat it.
Well, I think that's actually pretty normal. They did a study where they they tried to market, the clear pop or something. Well, I don't remember what flavor it was, but it was just clear versus just regular, same flavor and everything. But people found it more satisfying to drink something with a color rather than, a clear liquid. So do we have any more clips left?
We've got a couple. Oh, I believe this is the second to last one. So
a few months after I moved to Guatemala, I was getting properly comfortable with speaking Spanish. And because it was the first time that I felt really comfortable and confident in my speaking abilities, I never shut the fuck up and just talked about everything to everyone because I was excited to show off my language skills. And this one time I was at a bar and this guy that I had met once before, like really fast at a party, like a month or two before this moment, came up to me and started talking to me, and he asked me how I was doing. And I went into like graphic detail about this UTI that I had been fighting at the moment, because I was so excited that I like went to the doctor and used all of these new vocabulary words that I studied before I went to the doctor's appointment to use them. And I remember his face was like he was trying so hard to act natural, but I remember him looking shocked. And then that's when I realized that like a language isn't just like patterns to follow and like puzzles to fill in between the lines in certain contexts. It like actually means something.
Shut up, Meg. Who invited Meg Griffin to this podcast? Such an oversharer.
Always talking about her vagina and at the dinner table.
I guess there's a Meg in every friend group. And if you don't know who the Meg is in your friend group, it's probably you.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
so
have you ever
Who's the Meg in our friend group?
I always thought it was, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't overshare.
I don't know.
I undershare.
Okay, but because you undershare to such an extreme, every now and then you come out with these things where it's like, wait, what?
Wait, I had to talk about the litter box, okay? Anyways, we should move on.
I literally can't move on from that.
I'll give you a more wholesome little tidbit.
Okay.
I try to save every little creature I run into. Last night I saved a silverfish from drowning. For some reason it thought it was a real fish, and it like walked into a little pool of water, and I was like, oh fuck, come on, you stupid thing. So it was in the tub, of course, and I very gently got it out of the tub so it could wiggle around and have its little life, wiggly little life I know Tanya will love to hear about. And then I found a daddy long leg in the toilet under the seat, like under inside. I was like, what the
Wow.
fuck are you doing there? So I saved it because I was just like, it's just, I do that with worms on the sidewalk and snails. And I just want them to be safe. And it's probably really horrible because they're like trying to cross a sidewalk and I just put them back.
You always guess the wrong side of the sidewalk.
Yeah, probably. They're just like, that's not the way I was going. But yeah, I didn't think it was very weird. Wouldn't you help little creatures when you're bigger? But
Yeah.
often the people I'm with will look at me strange because I will go out of my way to pick up a worm or something and make sure they don't get stepped on. So that's a nicer little tidbit. I know you don't always want to think of me squatting over a litter box.
And
So-
yet, yeah, I'm with you though on saving creatures from
Mhm.
untimely deaths when I can.
If you tried to do it all the time, you would just, you're constantly, you can't be like that all the time, but if you see it happening, why wouldn't you just, take a little bit time out of your day to help them have the rest of their little life?
I believe that that's a big part of Jainism.
I don't think I would go as far as sweeping in front of me as I walk, if that's
Yeah.
what you're referring to. But when I do see something in trouble, it doesn't matter if it's just a gnat or a little tiny moth. Why wouldn't you show it kindness? It's
Yeah.
a life.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. It doesn't hurt you to help.
You told me earlier that this is the last clip, and this is actually
Yeah, there's one last clip.
we're done with Meg.
Yeah, everybody's done with Meg. Imagine being at a party.
The random
and-
guy that you run into doesn't want to know about these problems.
Yeah, with your
internal
pee
health.
hole. Internal
Um,
health is more mature than pee hole.
Yeah, I like pee hole though. In fact, I think we were talking semantics and being a pedantic, and I know that some people call the whole shemole a vagina. Some people call it a vulva.
Yeah, some
I just
people are
wanna-
wrong.
But it doesn't actually matter it's not. I don't like the textbook. You're a teacher, so you like what's right and what's wrong. I just like what I call it. And if I'm going to specifically be talking about the inside, I won't say vagina. I will say a vag hole, a pussy hole, a hole of some type, so that you know that I'm talking about that and you don't have to be a pedantic bitch. And that's all I was actually getting at before. So yeah, so we were talking about the same thing when we were talking vulva versus vagina. We were talking about the same exact thing, just different words, and it doesn't all matter at all, because now we were on to the last clip, which is going to sum up everything, because it's a good clip.
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, you're right. Neither one of us is a gynecologist, so.
No, but you just call it's like Mo Sislak, it's a car hole. Fancy vulva. I call it a car hole.
This clip is more wholesome than any of what we just said.
I would say I'm weird because I stand out. Standing out isn't always good to others, because standing out may be me taking the time to care for myself, to look at my feelings, care for my body, go to the gym, or talk with my mom about my feelings. Being weird is also simply me, because I think being authentic automatically makes you different from others, because only you can be you, and that's what makes you authentic, which in this case we can use as a synonym for being weird. Being weird is standing out, being yourself. It takes some courage to be weird at first, but I think over time you just grow to love it, and it'll just become a habit, because it's just you being you, and there's nothing more natural than being yourself.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
very
that, Master Splinter.
Yeah, very wise.
Very wise. I think he's just sort of summed up everything. It's just the human condition, the human. Yeah, he said it very well, that I don't even want to fuck with it.
Right.
So let your freaky, weird flag fly and be you.
Yeah, I'm weird. No, I am, therefore I'm weird.
Yeah, and you will find other people who you jive with, who you connect with on all these little weird idiosyncrasies. You will find people who have these same things.
Yeah. So
And if you,
share your weirdness. Otherwise, you'll never
yeah,
find those people.
because it attracts your people, and it's really, it feels very good to find other people who you share those things with. Even if we're not doing it for an episode, please tell us what makes you weird, or even just what makes you interesting, or what you, just things about you. If you just want to send us some clips so we can listen to them and comment, and
You tell us what makes you weird, and we'll tell you if it's interesting.
don't be offended if we make fun of you, because that's just what we do.
And can give you the name of a cartoon skunk.
Yeah. we're fairly nice, but
We
you can
clearly
also
watch a lot of cartoons.
Oh, definitely. I think I think millennials especially just soak up the cartoons. I feel it's our escapism. We needed it. We needed it. We also have a new Facebook group specifically for moms, aunts, and cousins and Karens. If you know
Yeah.
anybody that falls into it's for everybody. Anybody can join. You can directly leave us hate mail, hate comments, just anything really. Feel free to participate as much as you want and to let us know what you think. It's obviously, if you just search our podcast name, which Cece, what is our podcast name again?
Oh fuck, I always forget.
It's too long. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. It's something about being a bitch, that you're a bitch, and I don't.
Oh,
Bit,
right. And why are we
bitch.
friends?
Yeah, bitch. Why are we friends? That's
Right.
what
Okay.
it
So
is. Yeah.
yeah. So you can look us up on Facebook now. This is like a new endeavor. It's like the final frontier, because we actually aren't really on Facebook. But now that we can have our little area, you can come and bother us as much as you want and tell us how awful we are.
Yeah, you can't bother each other or tell each other how awful you are.
No, just
but
us.
Just us.
Yeah, if you bother somebody else, you're getting the boot. But we're there. You can friend us. You can follow our horrible lives.
Or lack
And anyways,
thereof.
yeah, exactly. And so this was our ninth
Episode.
something episode. So I don't even know what our next one's going to be, but do tune in if you so feel like it.
Honestly, even if you don't,
I think it's going to be about menstruation.
Yeah, what isn't?
Everything's bloody. Everything's a bloody mess.
Well, because there's also menstruation, and that's something totally different.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
God help us.
Again, we're at the end of the episode, and I have to pee really badly, so I'm going to head off to the litter box.
You stole my joke.
Fuck, sorry.
All right. Well, just make sure you clean it out before the cat sees.
Okay, I'm gonna sign off with flipping you the double birds.
All right. Well, I hope that someone left the toilet seat up and you fall in.
Later, bitch.
Later.